Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 10 Minute C Discussion Podcast, where I, Nora, your host, will break some exciting news from Southeast Asia, a small but fast growing region in the Asian continent. Now, let's stream into our 10th episode ASEAN Through the Food Safety Hurdles. For this episode, it's my great honor to have the participation of our today's guest, Miss Saint Htet, founder and principal consultant of Global Food Safety Institute, assisting stakeholders to acquire the food safety certification and offering relevant workforce training, backing clients with necessary understanding for their food ventures. Welcome to the show, Saint. How are you today?
Thank you very much for having me here. I'm fine, thanks.
So, before we get into a more serious discussion, it is just part of my curiosity. I saw your LinkedIn profile that you first gained a degree in chemical engineering, but then you built a career immersing in various aspects of food hygiene. May I know what are the things that intrigued you to contribute yourself into this industry?
It's a great question. And let me go back to the first time that I decided to start my career in the food industry. When I graduated from YTU, Yangon Institute of Technology with chemical engineering, I have a few choices to go into. One of them is food industry. So I joined a postgraduate diploma in food technology. And that is the beginning of my career. So right after the diploma in food technology, I straight away get into the food industry and I'm enjoying until now.
Okay. Since I have you here as a profile expert in food safety consultancy, I just want to share this information with you and have your thoughts on this. So, according to the Source of Asia, food businesses in Southeast Asia are rapidly growing with robust foreign investments and innovative trends. Yet, the food safety issues are still a disadvantage that partly prevents ASEAN to reach its full potential in terms of food export. The UN reported that around the world, an estimated 600 million, almost 1 in 10 people, fall ill after eating contaminated food each year. And our region, the Southeast Asia, accounts for 150 million illnesses. How have different countries in ASEAN tackled this problem? What are the typical food safety requirements currently asking food businesses to comply with across the region?
First, I would like to agree that food business sector in Southeast Asia is growing rapidly, and also on the point that food safety requirements in ASEAN region vary from country to country. Across ASEAN, each country takes a different approach. For example, Singapore is leading with a strict science-based regulation and mandatory food safety management system for a higher risk sectors. And Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Indonesia, they enforce good manufacturing practices, good hygiene practices, hazard analysis, critical control point, in short, HACCP, and strong export controls. While the other remaining countries, Cambodia, Laos, and Myanmar, they are trying to improve their regulations and capacity, but they face resource and infrastructure challenges. So across the region, you can say that the baseline requirement for food safety for the food businesses, any kind of food businesses, are good hygiene practices and good manufacturing practices.
Mm.
HACCP is recommended but not mandatory in many countries.
Mm.
Larger exporters usually implement food safety management systems that meet ISO 22000 standards or even the GFSI recognized certificates such as FSSC 27000. Regulation in a country or a region reflects its commitment to food safety, right?
Mm.
They also serve as a guiding hand or a helping hand for SMEs because the larger companies may have the capability to adopt international standards, but the SMEs have to depend on the government guidance and the support. This is why strong regulation, backed by practical and accessible support are essential for building safer food systems in the Southeast Asia region.
Okay. As you mentioned a bit about SME, it's just like my side question. So, in your opinion, to what extent have these regulations improved the outlook of food hygiene in Southeast Asia? And are there any gaps in the policies that seem to add more paperwork for SMEs and unfortunately pull down their growing pace?
Actually, it's not the paperwork that slows things down. I would say it is the nature of the process. Let me go through the process with you. When a food business apply for a certificate, it may be from a government authority or a private certification body, they start with the application process. And then the government or the certification body have to visit and inspect the manufacturing facility and then identifying the gaps and recommend or request for corrective actions, how to close these gaps, the gaps that they have identified, right? And after that, the factory has to respond with the corrective actions. Only after the verification by the government or the certification body is completed, this can be considered a complete audit and the certificate or official acknowledgement can be provided. Each steps like back and forth, it takes time. So that is the nature of the process that takes time, not the paperwork, I would say.
I happen to know that previously you attended the FI Asia in Thailand, right? It was an event that gathered ingredient suppliers. So, were there any significant matters regarding the policy shortfalls or food safety shared by the ASEAN food businesses mentioned?
I would say it's a global view of ingredients, not only the ASEAN, but at this particular exhibition, I noticed that there are many interesting ingredients. Nowadays people are more interested in well-being. They have more choices of healthy food, and people also have a tendency to choose healthier ingredients or healthier products. So there are a lot of claims coming up. Like for example, this product has the medicinal property, something like that. At the FI Asia in Thailand, I saw many interesting ingredients with functional claims. For example, this is the ingredient that you can use to with the probiotic, and some ingredients came with the fibers or even collagen. But I still find it difficult to fully trust these claims. Definitely, manufacturers provide data with a lot of facts, with a lot of evidences, but how can consumers or SMEs verify whether these claims are real or meaningful, right? ASEAN regulations and guidelines are still not well harmonized. So there are clear gaps in the way the information is provided. Some authorities verified the provided information. There should be a way to disseminate the information back to the users like SMEs and also the consumers. So there must be a proper guideline for labeling and allowing certain products to sell in the markets. That kind of guidance are required. And I believe there is no sufficient guidelines in those perspectives. So until the areas are strengthened, it is still challenging for the consumers and the SMEs to decide which product or which ingredient can really deliver the promised benefits. That is the gaps that I notice right now.
Okay, so as you're mentioning the gaps, it remind me to an index by ASEAN SME Policy 2024. Over 97% of all enterprises in ASEAN are SMEs, and food is one of the top three SME-dominated industries. Given that SMEs are still young in the market, it's common for them to face constraints at different scales. For SMEs, clients, or ventures seeking help at Global Food Safety Institute, What are the toughest phases that most food businesses have to walk through in terms of regulatory compliance? Or what do these ventures usually lack, which makes compliance more problematic for them? Is it because the businesses are too young, they are not ripe enough to have the capacities to handle such challenges? Or actually the situation really tough for any businesses of various seniority? And how has Global Food Safety Institute helped customize solutions to the problems?
Thanks for this question. Naturally, the needs for SMEs and then multinational companies are different. For SMEs, particularly in compliance, the biggest constraints are the resources because for implementing food safety, they have to invest certain equipments, lab tests, and things like that. And also, they have to invest money in achieving the certificates. So let me give you a simple example. For an SME to provide food is cooked properly, the business have to invest in the tools like simple thermometers, and it must come with a regular calibration of this thermometer so that the business can prove the temperature they are measuring is accurate. That comes in the cost. And on top of that, they also need to budget for training and certification fees. So the first challenge is the fund, having enough fund for implementing food safety management systems. The second major challenge is people, because effective food safety and quality management systems require staff with technical foundation and strong understanding of their own products and processes. So building this capacity takes time, patience, and continuous coaching. These are the two major challenges for SMEs whenever they want to achieve a food safety certificate or even implementing the system. So my approach for supporting SMEs as well as the MNCs is client first. Because for SMEs, they need to comply with the standard and they need to get a certificate. So we focus on helping them meet the exact standard they want to implement. There are some baseline hygiene and safety requirements that no business, including SMEs, can overlook. So we ensure that they meet these standards clearly and confidently. That's for SMEs. For MNCs, the goals may be different. Some MNCs already have their certification, but they want to be the market leader. They want to lead the market by having better compliance, better practice. So they want to strengthen food safety culture for their organization. In those cases, we will partner with them to elevate their system and their people's capability to the level they want to implement, how far they want to go, what is the way they want to lead in the market. So depending on their requirements, we work with them. So I would say the gaps are different, the requirements are different, and our approach is always client first.
So one last question from me at the bottom line. What is your advice to the potential entrepreneurs who are determined to build their food ventures? Besides building a strong finance, good business plan, and market research, what else do they need to prepare in order to smoothen out their entrance to the market?
Sure. I would like to raise awareness on the importance of food safety compliance and innovation in a way product development. First, food safety is not only about the compliance. It works like a passport, you know. So you have a strong passport, you can enter more countries, even more stricter countries, right?
Yes.
The same way, a strong food safety certificate allows your product to enter bigger markets or better markets, probably with better profits, right? So food safety compliance is not only about the compliance, it's also work like passport to new markets.
Mm.
And second thing, innovation is also crucial. I have seen many successful family businesses. They became outstanding business among all the competitors because they know how to use innovation as a tool to differentiate their products from the crowded market. So let me share an example from Myanmar.
Mm.
We have a specialty dessert called Tomo.
Mm.
The center of this particular product is Mandalay at the center of Myanmar. And among all the Tomo producers in the market, there are many producers, but one family business stood out by creating new products. Like it may be new ingredients, it may be new texture or new flavor, or some of the products with higher, healthier ingredients. So innovation helped them to differentiate from the market, and they are really very different with the rest of the products. And now they become the icon of the industry. People go to Mandalay, they buy this product as a gift for family and friends. So in summary, I would say food safety and innovation are key to success for particularly for the smaller and newer food businesses. I would say so.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Yes, food safety, food compliance, and innovation, they are like strong passport help you to enter any strict market. And yes, the younger you are, you better focus on these foundation to build a bigger businesses. So that was a very long but nice chat with you, Saint. It's my pleasure to have you here with me today. Thank you so much for the thoughts you shared. I hope that we'll have more chances to talk again and wish you all the best to come. Thank you so much and
Thank you for having
goodbye.
me. Thanks. Bye
Yeah,
bye.
bye. So that's the end of today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it and found the news interesting. For your convenient reference to further details of the news I mentioned, please find the links to my blog page in the description, where I have compiled all the related information. If you have any questions, or you want to discuss more on what I shared today, please leave your comments below. I would love to talk to each of you more as well. You can search for more episodes of this 10-minute C discussion podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Podcasts, and my own blog page. Thank you for listening to today's episode all the way to the end. And I hope to see you again in my next episode of 10-minute C discussion, which will be released soon. Once again, this is Nora, your host. Thank you so much and goodbye.